There are a lot of different ways that you can get students into Yellowdig from different areas. One of the most common with universities is just the LTI standard through most learning management systems, which is what we're looking at here. Yeah, there is a question in the chat about LTI or learning management systems. We have been able to integrate with basically every learning management system that I'm aware of, as long as it's using the LTI standard. Our LTI integration is very typical, so it works pretty much out of the box with any of the learning management systems. So this is the experience that students will get. They'll land into the single community for Yellowdig with a single scrolling feed. They can create posts, which are sort of the top level of content, and then other students or instructors can reply to those posts and create comments, and those sort of stay together in strings. Students can do things like add emoji reactions to posts. There are the ability to hashtag and add @mentions. So if a student wants to particularly alert another student or their instructor, they can just @mention them inside of a post, and a notification will be dispatched to the person that was mentioned. Other things that are pretty relevant, instructors have the ability to put these accolades onto specific posts to recognize them for different things. Here's a post that received a number of accolades, but you have the ability to create different colors, different images. You can name them different things, and you can make them worth different numbers of points in our point system. So these are really configurable, and you can do different interesting things with them. This one here is a sort of verified response badge that is one of my favorite examples. So you can put this onto a post if a student has answered another student's question and you want to just say, hey, that's the right answer. Everybody should pay attention to it. And these accolades can be used as filters. So if I click on this accolade, it'll filter the feed to only show posts that have been marked with that accolade. And in this case, there's only one. But those accolades work as filters. And so, there's other examples that you could use here if you want to just recognize sort of different levels of content or different, specific things in a post. Let's see. There is the ability to mark posts as read so that you can then filter out posts and only see unread content. All of the filtering capabilities are up at the top, and they can be added on top of one another. So if I wanted to find a post by a specific member in a specific date range, maybe with a specific hashtag or topic, I can add those all together to really drill down and find specific content. We know from our research that having a community occupy one sort of scrolling feed really gets students into and involved in the content. The active content pops to the top, so it's there. But one thing I think people worry about is being able to find the specific content when you need to find something that was posted or find something specific, some specific topic. And so we've created this really robust filtering functionality to help ensure that you can do that. And there's also sort of a full text search of the community that will highlight any posts that have specific search terms in it. So the ability to find content within Yellowdig is there and pretty robust, and we think works pretty well. As far as the student experience of posting content, they would click on the create button. They can create a new post that they would just add a title to. And then, in the bottom here, they can do the things like I mentioned @mentioning. It pulls up a full list of the course, and I could, @mention specific people. There's a hashtagging capability. So I can either add and create new hashtags or use hashtags that have already been put in by other users. Within the posts, you can add topics. These topics are configurable by the instructor in the settings area, but these would be populated by the instructor or instructional team. And when I'm posting, I have the ability to add multiple tags to a post if I want to, you know, indicate that there are sort of multiple topics. You can, as a designer or as the instructor, require that students post using a topic when they post. So that's one way to make sure that sort of every post has some kind of topic associated with it. And those topics are really used, again, as filters in the feed. So if there was a specific, you know, thing I wanted people to study for the midterm, I could direct them to, you know, filter by that topic and find it. Other things, you know, an exciting feature, I think, for Yellowdig Engage, especially for anybody that might be using Classic, is the ability to record video directly inside of the feed. So I would be able to just capture a video, introduce myself. Maybe one interesting use that we've seen of this is somebody did an online poster session where they had every student present a poster using the video, and then invited in outside instructors and other students to be able to give them feedback on their poster presentation, and sort of had, you know, back and forth conversations with those students. So I thought that was a pretty cool use of that video feature, but you can capture those directly into the feed now. There is also the ability to draw within the feed, and you know, unless you're a really good art student with a stylus, you might not be able to draw very, very nicely, you know, something that we would want to actually print or post. But one thing that we've seen that people really have used this feature for is to sort of upload a background image and then be able to annotate on top of it or call attention to something specifically within the, you know, within that image. For, say, science courses, being able to kind of edit a molecule or point to a specific part of a process diagram. This drawing feature has been really useful for those kinds of things. You know, you can add emojis to posts as you're posting. You can add video clips, basically any file. Another interesting thing that we like to see people use, and that instructors have reported to us really work out as a engagement opportunity, is to create polls and have students respond to polls which come up in the community. So we've just added this, some of this functionality to our community health area, and it's really interesting, I think, as a tool for instructors and other community admins to get better outcomes. So first of all, we're showing really high level stats for the community, the total number of posts and comments, what that breaks down to sort of per member of the community, per follower of the community, reactions to each other's posts that are posted. And we surface this conversation ratio. Now at Yellowdig, we think that this conversation ratio is like our #1 statistic because it predicts and is highly associated with almost every other statistic. But this is essentially just the number of comments per post. And so we want to see this number actually upward of something like 7 or 8 for a typical course. If you think about the standard discussion assignment, it would be 1 post and 2 comments. That would be a conversation ratio of 2. Quite frankly, that's not a conversation. These students really need to have a back and forth turn taking in order to be having real conversations, real discussions, right? And so it's important that that there's actually, you know, many posts or many comments per post, which indicate really stronger conversations. Within the health check area, I talked about a lot of those best practices. Some of them are listed here. These are the ones that we can easily detect from things that are set up in the community. So this is a quick check for anybody that's using Yellowdig to see, you know, what our recommendations are, and to go in here and change them if you want to make them align. But below this is where you can see the outcomes of your community, right? So beneath each of these is a set of graphs showing how your community compares against the global Yellowdig median, right? And so this community has not very many posts compared to or not very many words compared to the average Yellowdig community. And a percentile is created for each of these different metrics and then averaged together to create the scores up here. So for things that are related to sharing, posting more comments, posting more words, sharing links, this is the average percentile of this board compared to the global Yellowdig average or median. And so this gives you a sense of how this community is sort of ticking compared to other communities in Yellowdig, and gives you a sense of whether there are things that you might be getting really good results with compared to other communities, or maybe really bad results. And the other thing that I would mention is that we think that actually listening and interacting are far more important than a lot of the sharing behaviors. So most standard discussion prompts and conversations are focused on, hey, you have to create posts. They don't think a lot about whether students are actually reading what's there, ingesting it, thinking about it, and then actually having back and forth conversations, right? So we're tracking and are going to increasingly add additional metrics into these areas related to listening and students interacting with each other, because we think that these are the metrics that actually drive real student engagement or indicate real student engagement that is far beyond just coming and sort of doing your minimum number of posts and comments and then leaving. It's not hard to drive this, to drive these scores up by just requiring more and more posts. It is harder to get students to actually read more of the things that are posted, click on more links. It might be harder to get them to actually react to each other and talk with one another.